we'll be beginning right now with our friend Meg A. Banks. Meg, take it away.
Woo! Hello, my name is Meg Banks, and I am a representative. I am the Deputy Assistant Associate Director of our Strategic Public Information Department, otherwise known as SPIN. We are here today to announce a major new initiative of the International Monetary Fund as part of our Article 4 consultation with the United States Treasury Department. On the eve of the tax filing deadline, I am sure many of you are thinking of taxes. Many of you are probably resentful that your capital gains are still being taxed, while some idle, good-for-nothing actually get money back through the scam called the Earned Income Tax Credit. These are precisely the kinds of issues that the recommendations from the IMF will address. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Max Profit, who will start us off.
Thanks so much, Meg. Well, you know, the Bush tax cuts are definitely a step in the right direction, but they do not go far enough to rationalize U.S. tax policy. That's why it's the firm belief of the IMF that the current U.S. tax policy is neither sufficiently pro-growth nor geared towards optimal revenue collection, and that major reforms must be enacted. Among these reforms, we must institute a national sales tax or a value-added tax, the VAT tax, as we have instituted in Pakistan and the Dominican Republic. Number two, we must make no exemptions from this tax. Medicines, food, water, sewage services, these are all fair game for a national value-added tax, as we are compelling the government of Zambia to recognize. Crises, fiscal crises, are no reason to relax this tax. We required Niger to continue a 19% value-added tax on food during a famine in 2005. Now that, my friends, is sound economic policy. After all, crises are precisely when the government needs the most revenue. Am I not right, Meg?
That's right. But I know what you're thinking. These reforms are not enough. So we have some more for you. We're going to eliminate the capital gains tax and the estates tax. Furthermore, we're going to reduce the maximum corporate tax rate to 5%. Because really, how can we expect corporations, the founding of our economy and political system, to have the incentive to invest and take risk if they have such high taxes? So we're going to reduce the tax rate to 5%. Then, eliminate the wasteful earned income tax. We don't need to say any more about that. And finally, eliminate the taxable income threshold for federal income tax currently at, take a guess. What do you think the threshold is? $7,000? No, it's more than that. The current threshold is $8,450 for one person. There is no reason for all income not to be taxed.
Too true, man. Too true. And let me just say, it's not at all rational to provide tax incentives to non-profit organizations. We must instead be providing tax incentives to our most profitable organizations. And right here in the middle of Washington, D.C., I am so proud to say that we have a prime example in our own fine institution, the International Monetary Fund, right here, and the World Bank Group, right there, which sit on an estimated $1.4 billion worth of property and pay how much in property tax? Can I hear that number? Sorry, didn't hear that? $0. Absolutely. We pay no property tax at all. All corporate offices, hotels, shopping centers, big box stores, manufacturing facilities, and so on should likewise be exempt from property and other kinds of taxes, don't you think?
Absolutely, Mr. Prophet. Now finally, do not succumb to popular pressure. Do not succumb to the people's desires. The government of Pakistan, for example, exempted medicines from the national sales tax in 2002 because of such popular pressure. That was, of course, a tragic mistake. And we hope the U.S. government does not bow to such stupid whims.
Well, in conclusion, I'd just like to say, you can trust us. After all, we are the experts in preventing economic crises. Our success in preventing crises in places like Thailand, Indonesia, South Korea, and Argentina, well, these speak for themselves, don't they? So with that, I'd like to turn it over. If there are any questions from members of the media, any questions?
And once again, this is Meg A. Banks of the IMF and Max Profit of the International Monetary Fund as well. Questions?
Yeah, what's an IMF right?
From time to time, uninformed and uneducated people, believing that they know better what's in their own interest than we do, have reacted against our policies. I'm happy to say that some of the governments that we've been in touch with have really, calmed those protests in recent years. And when we look, for example, at places like Senegal, that had a so-called IMF riot in 1979, when we look at places like Ghana, that had IMF riots throughout the 80s, we see silence, and silence is consent.